Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the counselor's office. Scholars, subscribe. Or if you're not a scholar, you should subscribe to become a scholar. You're probably wondering, what's with the get up? Listen, I've been working around my house all day. Literally, I'm in my tank shirt. I smell like I'm like, if there's ever a time where I'm actually greasy and sweaty and stinky, this is the time. I plan on doing this video and going take a hot shower and get ready for bed. I've been working a lot around the house, so I haven't been streaming. I've been trying to catch up on summer work, and I still have a lot to do, especially since I plan on working with the living room, or the office space, should I say. I've got a lot I have to do. So I've been sacrificing streaming and playing other games, mostly just to do that. I'm also ADHD, and so I'm ping-ponging on everything. I can't stay on one task. But if you didn't think I was ADHD, now you do. Here we are. We're doing another video, kind of concluding the new stuff outside of Edge of Fate, which I'm going to give an overall consensus, opinion video in the future. It's not looking too good. I don't know if I want to react to someone else's videos or take snippets from their video and do a thought process. But let's just talk about usually one of the selling points for expansions is exotics, which is what we're going to check out today. Nope, not that one. This one. We're going to check out exotics today. We're using Datto. The links to the videos down below, but I'm not going to just react to it. We're going to talk about it. I've already watched the videos, and we're just going to read what they do. And I'm going to give you, while we let some of it play in the background, I'm going to talk about it and be realistic, right? It's easy to overhype new things and be excited, but I'm going to tell you whether it's actually going to be worth going after, or if it's just going to be another thing that you either keep in your vault or you just dismantle immediately. So let's talk about Titans. Melissa Panoplia, or whatever you want to call it, is a Titan exotic meant to focus around your hammer. Let's read what it does, and let me tell you what I think. Forge Master. Collecting a fire sprite or rapid solar final blows make you a Forge Master. When you think about it, it's actually not hard to make fire sprites if you're using incandescent weapons, or if you're using anything solar, you'll produce those. Also, solar final blows would also come from your hammer itself, allowing you to recall your throwing hammer, which is kind of a pivotal point, after impacting a target. Recalling your hammer at full intensity to perform a perfect recall, causing an explosion of forge slag. Perfect recalls and collecting fire sprites extend your time as a Forge Master. Now, based on the look of it, it looks really cool. Don't get me wrong. If we're looking at this for what it is, the idea is your Thor, which is badass. But just because it's badass doesn't mean it's good. And here's the problem. First off, let's point out something that maybe you didn't notice. If you look at the footage, the recharge rate's back. Bungie had previously nerfed hammer to where essentially you couldn't continue to spam the hammer. That was one of the nerfs that they did to that Titan Bros, right? Hammer was pretty good with Synthoceps and other builds, right? Here we have it. It seems like it's that nerf has been reverted, at least from the gameplay that we're seeing. It seems like it is reverted. The problem is, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's only when you're using this exotic. It doesn't seem like it, because if we go to the beginning, before they have the Slagmeister or whatever it's called, I believe I saw footage where they didn't have it and you could just recall it. The problem is, in-game content, this is essentially useless. Because what makes hammer good is the fact that you can pair this with Synthoceps and a 1-2 punch shotgun or weapon. Don't get me wrong, it's really cool. The idea is neat, but there's two problems. One, you have to get a either final blow kill or a fire sprite, which usually indicates some kind of kill anyways, to activate it, to then be able to chain this, to activate its ability. Two, another problem is that alone, it's weak, right? This is not boosting the damage capability in any shape or form. Unlike Syntheseps or even Worm God's Caress, this is not increasing the total damage. And yes, you can use the armor that does that, but you could also just do that with regular hammer in Syntheseps, right? You could just do the whole package. So you're sacrificing strength and overall power with a build for the coolness factor. Now, if you're just running around doing lost sectors, like, or you're doing bounty farming, or you're in a public space, sure, it seems fun. But fun doesn't mean good. I mean, I'm gonna be 100 to you. Beating the shit out of everything with a hammer, with like Syntheseps and Worm God Caress and a 1-2 punch shotgun is cool. Like, that's fun. And that's why a lot of people used it before concentration. So I'm gonna be honest with you. This is a nothing burger. It doesn't do anything. What they should have done is what they did with the exotic weapons, which we'll talk about. And it should have done like an actual Thor effect. You throw the hammer and you do a perfect timing or something, and you get like lightning strike. And yes, I know that's like an arc ability, but you should be able to mesh together with a subclass with an exotic. That would have been really cool. Calling down a jolting lightning or something. You throw a hammer, you jolt a champion or cause a wide area of splash damage. That would have been the fantasy of the Thor hammer. And it would have been really freaking cool, because not only you're killing ads, you're also jolting targets, which means you can use it for ad utility, or not ad utility, but like champion utility, like overloads and whatnot. That would have been cool. But instead, we've got this very mediocre exotic. It's cool, but we have cool exotics. And does everything need to be like potent? No. But again, we live in a world where there are so many exotics that are cool, but also good, right? We have good, fun exotics. Why? And with the fact that now you're going to have to really care about your builds, like this is not something like you can do now where you're like, I'm going to flex this in and I can make it work. You actually have to engage with your builds in your sets. Am I going to waste my time building into this exotic or considering this exotic for my build? No. Let's move on. Now we have Warlock. Warlock, this is another exotic that is kind of, it is a nothing burger. Hellion projectiles deal increased damage the further they are, and eventually fracturing to scorching shrapnel. It's cool. And it seems from the gameplay that the Hellion does improve damage. And I'm thinking like solar. Would I take this off for speakers? The speaker sites? No. Especially for endgame? No. Grandmasters? No. Would I take this over like for prismatic? I'm thinking all the prismatic exotics that you could use, the class item. Would I use this over that for like the turret build? No. For fun, I'm sorry. Have you played the Warlock prismatic turret build? It is fun. Like, we already have good, fun exotics. And I'm going to say that it is neat, but just increasing damage is not good anymore. Like, this is like stuff, even like Destiny 1 had more interesting exotics. This is, we're throwing some bare minimum ideas and trying to create exotics. This could have just been an aspect. This could just been a armor bonus, right? You could have a specialized solar armor that just boosts your armor abilities. And that's where we're at now with all these changes coming down the pipe. You have to think bigger. You have to think, is this worth the time and commitment and resources to use this exotic just for one specific thing? To me, no. Again, speaker sight, overall the best sight. Yes, is it like, that's a healing and I want more damage? I'll be honest, there are still other better exotics, like, holy. All right, instead of me just guessing and telling, let me just show you some weapon, like armor. Speaker sight, sun bracers for solar. Would I use this, like, would I use the Helion or would I use sun bracers, which is still potent, right? Would I give that over? For prismatic, getaway artist, still amazing. Dawn Chorus, which, yeah, is not necessarily the most exciting thing, but it also does similar facts that it improves your daybreak and scorches. What else do we have under the hood? Sanguine's Alchemy, which is more for like damage, but you could still use it. What else? I'm thinking like Rhymecoat Raiment for stasis and or prismatic in this case, because we're talking about Helion, right? Rain of Fire. And of course, like I said, the class item. There's just so many better exotics to use, in my opinion, than Enoia, right? So I'm not excited because it's a bare minimum. Now, if it said that your Helion stuns unstoppables, do I think that would be enough to justify its existence? Probably not, but at least it would be useful. You can use it. You can guarantee that one of your abilities always deals with champions, which lets your build be more flexible. And then I would be more willing to use it in Grandmasters. Again, there are things that are good and fun. I think people get lost in the sauce in thinking that all exotics, you know, have to be fun. And yes, it is. It's not really unique. Like in Cruise, if you really think that an exotic that boosts the power of your Helion, your own pre-existing ability, that's not impressive. Now, if it was a item that gave, like an exotic, you know, armor that gave you Helion and you didn't have to be on solar, then yeah, that would be pretty cool, because then you could be like on Strand or Stasis and get a free Helion. Like, that would be really cool. Again, Bungie's not willing. They're willing to kind of break the mold with some of the weapons now, but not the armor. And I feel like to be really creative is what's needed to make people want to use these exotics. Right now, we're kind of like, meh. We're kind of mid right now. And that's all it is. If you look at it, it just makes it like slightly more aggressive, but there's nothing overly impressive. Like, okay, that's cool for, you know, fun. Like, I'm gonna go to a public sector, kind of like what we're seeing here. Like, am I overly excited about it? No. Now, Hunter Strand, which it could also use for prismatic, I believe, as well. We'll see. We have Morai. Threaded spike can bounce to tangles, detonating them, returning immediately. Tangles detonated by threaded spike are rewoven and retrieved by it. Catches without a tangle refund extra melee energy. Listen, I like the whole Beyblade. The concept of Beyblade's really cool. And you can kind of chain thread, like the tangles, right? Which is one thing that you kind of want for this like build in general. Having more Beyblades around is always a good thing. But is it worth giving up an exotic slot for Strand? Like, if we go to Destiny now and we think Hunter, what does Hunter have that they can use as a kit? Well, we have Crinacne, which gives you Woven Mail when grappling and flinch resistance, so you get more survivability. What else are we giving up here? I mean, there's a lot of middle ground stuff that I'm trying to think. For this, I know Gifted Convictions used a lot for Prismatic, along with the Prismatic class item, Radiant Dance Machines. It's kind of a meme build, but people still use it. What else? For Strand specifically, Balance of power, which is another thing that people do use along with the class item. Not a lot. And so for Strand specifically, you could make an argument that maybe this is better. I just feel like at this point, you might as well just build into what? Star Eater scales for DPS to make it really good. But I just don't see wasting a slot when you have other exotics that kind of do a better job. Especially if we're talking about prismatic. I mean, for Strand, you could make an argument. But is this something that I'm like, is this hype? No. Is this something that you can abuse in Strand? Sure, that's about it. Prismatic, not so much. I can see a world where Strand, you could focus on making a build. Will it be good though? Like, is the Tangle, is this something feasible in like Grandmaster or day one? Are you going to be doing this day one? No. Again, it's another fun build, which is a little bit more unique, and Beyblades are like, you're able to spam it a little bit more. But as we're seeing just based on this small gameplay, it's not overly, I don't know, not overly impressive, especially when you can rock like Woven Mail. Yeah, I mean, I out of all three, this one seems a little bit more usable in my opinion, just because Strand Hunter doesn't have like a lot. But I do feel like there's still other things in the exotic slot that you could use that would be better used. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little biased because I think Prismatic is the better Strand subclass for Hunter, especially with what you can do on Prismatic. I would just rather use Strand abilities on Prismatic to really make it Hunter good. But as for the other two, like, you can make an argument still for Hunter. The other ones, they don't do anything unique. At least this is unique. It does something that benefits your Beyblade kit, and you can kind of use it for grappling. You could do 1-2 punch, shotgun, melee punches. Not as strong as if you just did Strand and did the melee build with the class item, but still, for Strand, for what it is, you can still abuse and take advantage of it. Not so much the other ones. All right, moving on to the weapons. Usually the weapons, like the final shape, a lot, like the first thing people saw was the Cade weapon, right? Everyone saw Cade's weapon and just blew their load. Like, Still Hunt. This was what drove a lot of sales. This gun right here, it definitely ended up getting nerfed, and people are still using it to this day, especially to solo the Witness, or even just using DPS Witness, though I think Queensbreaker is still better at this moment with the artifact mods. But this sniper rifle, Still Hunt, this sold a lot of expansions. A lot of people were hyped about this gun, and it was really good. It was very good. In fact, everyone used it for day one. Everyone went to Hunter for day one. Salvation's Edge. That's how good this thing is. Now, we go to these weapons. We have third iteration, which is a scout rifle, which already is bad. Scout rifles are prototypically not exciting. We have amalgamation rounds. Aiming down sight for a short period without firing compresses the spread into a single high-density projectile. Damaging a target with these shots marks them. So it's like a little tag. This weapon deals additional damage to marked targets. Defeating a marked target or landing a precision final blow with an amalgamation round grants invisibility and true sight. Already, I don't think this is going to be a DPS weapon, but for Grandmasters, I think this will be usable. Giving yourself invisibility and true sight says yes. Like, I think Priz Hunter with Gerfalcons will love this, will eat this up. Or even if they're not even Gerfalcons, like, just having the free invisibility, even just having invisibility on other classes is kind of nice, especially you want survivability, and it's a scout rifle. So I can see this being used in Grandmasters. Now, do I see this being used in day one? No. Let's see, look at the other ability. We have modified heatsink. Battery slowly recharges over time when the weapon is stowed or not being fired, or you can vent it. Apparently, the reload process on this gun is incredibly slow. which is not something I'm too impressed with. We have Triplanetary Mass Driver. Fires a spread of void energy projectiles, aiming down sight, narrows a spread. So it's like a shotgun. The best comparison for what I saw was it's like Choir of One, except it's not as lethal, and you blow your ammo really quick, not, aiming down sight.
Here is that.
So, I mean, it looks good, but it's also a scout rifle. And I'm just, like I said, Choir of One exists. I still think it'll be usable. And is this something to be, like, is this something exciting? Not really. You're giving up your exotic slot, and you're giving up your primary weapon. You're using a primary weapon as an exotic. I'm thinking, would I use this over Outbreak? Would I use this over like Graviton Lance? Which Graviton Lance does a lot of good ad clear, and it hits champions pretty hard, especially when you're using it with anti-champ modifiers. I'm not really sold on this weapon. I know that he showcases No Land Beyond. We don't know what the catalyst is, and it's already in the game, so I'm not even talking about it because that's like, it's just already in the game. If you pre-ordered, even if you pre-ordered and canceled, like who would pre-order and cancel and get their money back? Like, oh wait, that's crazy. Who would do that? The next one is a 150. That's right, 150s are back. Graviton Spike. Listen, this is absolutely not going to be a day one weapon, let alone like DPS weapon. However, it is very unique, very cool, and I could see myself using this in encounters where like dungeons or base raids that you don't need DPS. I could see myself using this for ad clear. So what does it even do? Well, we have temporal alignment. Overcharging both arc and stasis modes grants a period of increased damage. What about, we have a temporal anomaly. While overcharged, each mode expends a portion of overcharge for additional effects on the final blows or precision. Arc mode calls down lightning strikes. Stasis mode creates an explosion and formation of stasis crystals. So you're getting two elements in one. You're getting stasis and you're getting arc. That's badass. Like, I'm thinking, I take it back. You could definitely use this in day one if you're doing some cheeky elemental honing like Hensen's Vengeance. If you're able to proc this, like, I don't know if you're able to proc it without getting a kill, but if you're able to proc this on a boss or anything in general, you're getting arc and stasis, and then you use something else and something else. You get ×5 elemental honing, and you do DPS on like the Witness, right? So whatever the boss is, and you do massive amount DPS. I could see this being used in damage rotations, right? The bait and switch, or no, not bait and switch, but elemental envious assassin rotations. Just use its ability, get multiple element taglines. Like, elemental honing loves this. So I take back my whole thought process on this. Do I think it's necessary? No. Do I think it's like a must-have? No. But is it a cool tech? Absolutely. I give them props for making a actual unique exotic that does multiple functions, doing multiple elements. And it's not just like, oh, it does 2 damage. It calls freaking lightning and then creates stasis, right? It creates stasis crystals, which goes great if you want to build into stasis. You can use this. If you want to use arc, you can use this. If you want to use prismatic, prismatic loves this because you're doing both light and dark attacks, which is going to increase your transcendence bars. Like, this is great. I mean, what does temporal manipulation do? Press to swap between the fast firing arc mode or slow firing stasis mode, so you can rotate what you want to do. Final blows and precision hits overcharge the opposing mode to enable additional effects. So you get to choose your flavor and you get all these different effects. That's cool. I like that. That's badass. It's also craftable because it has the tier 4 crafting. So this is like probably our seasonal weapon, or unless they're making this an expansion craftable weapon. That's interesting. But it's a 150. Do I think this is going to be a must-have? I would be surprised if it is. But for utility, for like what, like I said, elemental honing swaps, I can definitely see people using this as a tech to really maximize, especially if you don't, unless swapping, it may be just faster to swap, like do your elemental and then pop your rockets. Maybe it's too slow switching between the modes. I don't know. It's one of those things you have to play to use to see. But I'm more interested in this weapon for that utility than I am the scout rifle when we just have better exotics, in my opinion. I mean, from what Dado has said is that the damage can compete with LMGs, which is neat when you're, you know, hit firing or blasting. But I feel like Choir kind of does that. And we're also getting pulse rifle rockets, like sidearm rockets, or sorry, rocket assisted pulse rifles, which are going to do big chunks of damage too. It's one of those things that we'd have to do damage tests to see compared to others, but it doesn't look like anything that I'm like, it's not this gun, right? It's not still hunt. It's not still hunt. None of these are still hunt level. Nothing gets as exciting, which is a shame. Maybe they were scared to make another still hunt because how good it was and the fact that they had to nerf it. But we're talking about a new expansion. It is very surprising to me that these exotic armors and weapons are very mediocre. Like usually Bungie likes to overhype these guns to promote sales, and they're not even doing that, which is very concerning to me because I'm not excited for any of these weapons. Like I said, the hand cannon interests me for rotations with elemental, but it's not something that I'm going to have on every build. It's not. We just have so many exotics in the game that do so many good things. I'm just not impressed. I don't know. Maybe I'll be surprised, but nothing here stands out like, oh my God, a scout rifle, a hand cannon that switches elements. Wowie, wowzer. Wow. Where still hunt was literally a golden gun. I'm surprised they didn't do a gun that, like a hand cannon that shoots out a Nova bomb, or a rocket that shoots out a Nova bomb, or something absurd for Warlock. Like, I am actually surprised they didn't try to really sell. And that's kind of the problem we're looking at here is what are we trying to sell here? I'm not sold. You guys can let me know what you think, but as someone who usually can have a pulse on what's good, we just have so many exotics that do so many good things. I know it's getting hard for Bungie, but dang, I'm not excited at all. I'm not. Especially when you're looking at like a Vostok. Like, this gun was very exciting and it's still really good, even with like the nerfs. People don't realize it's still really good. It is an amazing gun still. I would rather use this than over probably that scout rifle, if I'm being honest. But that's me. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. That has been our review. I think that kind of bundles up the last bit of like some of the small stuff, and I'll give my opinion on Edge of Fate. So far, this is not going to entice me to want to purchase or give a shit, which is great for me because that means I don't have to farm for these exotics. Like, if I get them, I get them. If I don't, like, it's one of those deals where I'm not in a hurry. I can focus on the good exotics, and that works for my benefit. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Hit the like button, comment down below, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. Again, if you want to watch all of Dado's videos, go watch them, right? We obviously didn't react to him. I just use them as a reference sheet and gameplay. So shout out, give him, go watch and see his opinion if you want. I'll see you guys later, as always.